And there we go, we're up. So, as we were just saying, Nagesh, it's a very exciting time to be alive. I was really excited to talk to you last time. We're doing the product demo and seeing what you guys are doing at XLM. And I think the time before that, I just had such a good conversation with you about what you're doing with your gardening patch, from living in Florida to how you got into drug discovery, and or not you directly into drug discovery, but how your company did, and just all those things. And yeah, really excited to talk to you about all those kind of topics today, wherever it might lead, wherever we might go with the conversation.
I like this format.
Yeah,
It's just a good discussion, right?
exactly.
And no limits. So I really like it. Tom, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So tell me, what's been going on? What's since we last spoke a couple of weeks ago, you got quite a few things on. You got a conference coming up. You got some exciting customers you're working with. Things that are cracking across the AI industry that we're seeing, and further, like the healthcare sector. There's a lot of things. So what's been on your plate at the moment? What's been going on?
On the professional side, Tom, I think as the CEO of my company, I took the right decision of pivoting completely to AI because my domain is life science manufacturing, pharma, biotech, medtech, you know, right? So generally it's regulated, it's heavily regulated. So means the mindsets are, they don't move as fast, not like the tech, right? Tech moves very fast. But pharma takes their own sweet time. They're typically 3 to 5 years behind what the current technology world can offer you. Um, for me, that's not acceptable. I've been in this industry for 32 years, right? And I have traveled the globe working for major pharma, US, Western Europe, Asia, India, South America, Australia, Japan. So it's not, you can't tell me that, I don't know much about this. My
Yeah,
entire professional career, I worked in this space, manufacturing. That's all I've done. In manufacturing, technology. How can computers make drug products and
hmm
comply, right? That's a key. So we have built systems, software systems, hardware and software systems. We have tested them, validated them. We have provided consultancy, not just to the pharma companies, but also tech companies, software companies, providing products to pharma because they need to understand the dynamics. Some of them don't.
yeah,
So that gives me that over the last 3 decades has given me a very good perspective on how the industry really works, what does it take to be successful in this thing. So now, of course, I run my own company, right? So I think I need to do something with AI because I'm fascinated by technology. Even when I was very young, I was always fascinated. So even though I'm a manufacturing engineer, a mechanical engineer, all my professional life I've done software. And started in manufacturing, slowly went into the middle layer, what they call OT, operational technology, then IT, information technology. So all the layers I worked. And what I've also done is, I've worked in manufacturing since we are a consulting company. That's how I started. Um, we have done quite a few projects on the clinical side, the clinical technology side, and also the laboratory technology. So these are the three main facets in life sciences. In one is drug discovery, where the you discover the drug, then they have to go through clinical trials before they commercialize. That's one aspect. Then you have the laboratory. They support clinical phases, but also manufacturing phases. They use high-tech equipment to do product product testing. So you're talking about the spectrophotometers, FTIRs, HPLCs. These are really, really high-tech, science-based equipment, and the software also is very complicated. And you have to be either a chemist, a microbiologist, a scientist to operate these equipment, understand. And most of these equipment, they have to design the methods, what they call the methods, meaning how can I test this product, right? So we need to design an experiment or a method so that, over time, you can just use the same method, then you know the product is meeting your spec or not. So that needs a lot of science background and data background as well as software background.
so it's the perfect
So,
combination for
so
you.
we have worked in all the three areas. Manufacturing is main. So, but we have worked in all the different domains. So it's given me as an individual, right? I'm always interested, right? I've always wanted to learn. Even though I'm the CEO, still I'm hands-on. Over time, it's becoming less and less, but my guys can't just fool me. Oh, this LLM, no, I know what they're talking. Even though I don't program as often, they cannot fool me because that's one key thing for my success is whatever we do, I need to know the nuts and bolts of what we are providing, whether it's just consulting, whether it's software, whether it is providing some advice, recommendations. Otherwise, you cannot be. So even if you look at all the CEOs in the tech world, right? Like you see that Zuckerberg, he is a techie. Sundar Pichai at Google, techie. Satya, techie. You can't run a technology company without being a techie. You can't just be a sales guy, because technology is very complicated nowadays. Without knowing the nuts and bolts of it, you cannot be an innovator, right?
Yeah. You can't build
So
stuff. You can't understand how
yeah,
it's
you
built
can't
or why,
exactly.
or you can't tinker with it. Like you were saying when you were younger, like you have that instinct to be like, how can I break it so I can understand how it works, like at
That is correct.
full efficiency or whatever. Yeah.
So now, typically technology guys, are not good at marketing, sales. They're not the same. But I think that's also a drawback. Because marketing people may not understand the nuances of a particular technology, the people in this domain, right? So we need to cater to them.
Yeah.
So if I know all those aspects, since I'm the CEO, right? I know my clientele, I know how systems work, what the regulatory frameworks are, what technology is needed, but I also should be able to market that.
Yeah.
I have tried many things to hire CMOs and everything else. So far, I think I can do a better job of marketing. Now I've developed the skills. Initially, I was not good.
Yeah.
Now I'm good. With AI, I'm on a different platform altogether
Yeah. It's
because
crazy.
AI can give me the whatever I need. I can generate, whether it is email marketing, whether it is websites, anything, any content, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy to generate with AI. Before, I don't have the time to use Photoshop and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's too nitty gritty for me. But
Yeah.
now AI can get rid of all that. I don't have to know all that. I just have to know how to prompt, and some kind of a vision I have, and AI will give me more ideas, right,
Yeah.
to do that. So now, as a tech CEO, I have the entire AI spectrum to do anything I want
Yeah.
to take my business to the next level. So the key is every technology CEO or any CEO should know all the tools. Even they may not use it, all of them, they need to know what is my AI strategy, irrespective of any company you run. What is my AI strategy? Don't give that to the IT people. You as a CEO should know what my strategy is, what my expectations are, where I want my company to go. That's what I'm doing at XLM. Last 18 months to 24 months, my mindset has changed so much since ChatGPT. Before that, also, we were looking at computer vision and a few things, not too deep into AI, but we always wanted to take advantage of computer vision, for example. It was all there, right? It's not that ChatGPT, everything was born at that point. I think that things changed dramatically after ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Now, I we are pivoted to. So the bottom line is, so I think you need to be flexible, to adapt, and so you can make things happen. So I have done that, and from a marketing side, we're in a much better position. Sales, customer success, we're in a much better position. Software development, we are in much better position. We use AI tools throughout the stack,
Graph.
end to
Everything.
end. We
Yeah.
use we use AI tools. We must be using. I personally use about 40 to 50 tools, and
Wow.
sometimes I can't even keep track of it, because there's so many tools. I
Yeah.
have my browser set up properly. I have multiple profiles. I know I
Yeah.
categorize all my tabs, so I know if I want to do content gen, I go here. I know my
Very organized.
favorite tools to use. I mean, my tabs are like 80, 90 tabs in any browser.
I think my computer
It's
would crash on that many tabs. Like I need a
My PC is very
mini.
powerful. That's why I use a real powerful PC,
I need to go get
laptop.
like a
It's
new
heavy.
generator and a new GPU and everything to power it, like have a system. But I saw someone, Nagesh, like I was listening to 20VC. I don't know if you ever listened to that podcast yesterday. It's with a guy called Harry, and he's a big, like he's got like 150,000 subscribers. It's a brilliant podcast, and all he does is
20
interview
VCs, is it? 20 VCs?
20VC, yeah. And I'll
Yeah.
send you a link after. And he was interviewing the guy that came up with, or that is one of the large language models. I forgot the name. but I saw him speak at. Let me pull it up quickly. I can't remember. It's going to
Yeah,
annoy me that I can't think of his name, but it was basically he was saying on that like how ChatGPT was an interface situation. It wasn't like the tech had been there, but because of how the interface and how it communicated with the end user changed everything. And then another
that changed
person I
everything.
knew, like this was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe longer, that they were telling me. I think they did like a LinkedIn post, and they have like a screen, so I've got a big, I don't know what this is, maybe 30 inches across, 40 inches across, 35 inches across. And they had basically flipped it and had it sideways, so which I know is very popular with developers. So you've got a
Correct.
second screen that goes long lengthways, and it was
Yes.
just for LLM. So they had Claude in one and ChatGPT in another, or ChatGPT and Perplexity. It was one of the two. And obviously, each model, like at the moment, ChatGPT, what in the past 48 hours is going crazy, 24 hours because of the new image model, and it's absolutely insane, Nagesh. Like seeing what the people I know that are in that, like Chris Branch and Andrew Davis and the people that are in those worlds, like it's incredible what images are being generated that anyone can generate just from text. Like it's really
It is
blowing a lot of
amazing.
situations. But what you were saying is so spot on, like that whole interface and having it organized, similar to how you got it in tabs, um, but like on a separate screen. It's like the future. It's like I was thinking, I need to get a separate screen because I need to do that because I'm always asking Perplexity. I've got a Perplexity Pro account and anything from like ideation for newsletters, ideation
I
for
get it.
like not so much code and things because I'm not like that techie in that world, but I like to have like a really thorough understanding of what the tech's going to do, not necessarily build the tech and break it and play with it and all those kind of things, which I enjoy. But I much more like kind of getting a grasp and then taking that to a conversation or something. Like, what do you think? Like how I'd ask you, like, tell me how this is going to work in drug discovery.
Great.
Yeah,
I mean, especially the deep reasoning models, they do such a good job.
yeah,
It's amazing what they can do. The deep research, it could be DeepSeek or any of those models, right? Including OpenAI and all the models. I mean, it takes a little time, but it's phenomenal. It is
yeah.
really phenomenal. The output is very good. The quality is very good.
Yeah, and what it can do and how it can build into different conversations and like help you with different ideas. And I think the moment I thought it was really taking over Nagesh was when I saw my parents using it, and I was like, wow. I was like, this is really taking it like it's. And they were like, oh, we'll just ask ChatGPT. I was just like, it takes a step back. It's just
Like the
like,
audio, right? You can talk to it.
yeah, exactly. Audio and like communicate with it. Like they're just using text at the moment, but it kind of makes you think like this whole image generator, what it is like seriously going to do to, like you said, like how you can do it through different tools for different applications. It makes me think like, do I need something like Canva? Because if I can just go in and prompt it and make all these things, like God, I don't know. Like you can school me on this podcast, like what it can do in healthcare and pharmaceuticals and all those places. But it makes you think like we've got a lot of I wonder where it's going to lead to in like 5 years when we're having another conversation.
No, nobody can predict.
Yeah,
Tom, you can, as the smartest guy on earth, we cannot predict. This is something out of the ordinary, what we
yeah,
are seeing. We thought internet was big, but this is bigger.
yeah,
It will touch all of us, including your grandmother. It will
yeah,
touch, right? My grandmother, it will
yeah,
touch, and the younger generation. So what we are going to do with it? Humans are always good, right? When you give something, they will push it, tweak it, test, turn it, So you will see this. 5 years we should have this podcast, and you and I will be talking about it.
yeah,
How different the world is in 5 years, because of
100%.
the how everybody operates. It's very different. The workforce is going to change, and the way we interact with the world is going to change. Not just computers, right? Not just work. I'm talking about robotics and everything else. It will really change, I think.
Yeah,
I was recently looking, like you said, about gardening, right? I have a farm now. My
yeah,
my CTO sent me a link saying that you should look at it. People in big cities don't have much space to grow, but they want to grow food, right? Everybody wants to be a little
big
bit more
problem.
independent now,
Yeah,
and organic food is becoming a big deal. So they have a nice different open source software again. It's a robot, so it has cameras. It can go like this x and y axis and z. It can go deeper like that. So it can do all kinds of things. It can plant things. It can fertilize. It can remove the weeds. And they have very different tooling. and everything is connected to their cloud, open source software, and they sell the whole kit. It's not that expensive. And the idea is that if you're so busy, right, it's 24 by 7, it's doing the work for you.
Yeah.
It waters, and it's all scientific. It's just not pouring water all the time. It
Yeah.
measures the moisture in the soil, and it's connected to the weather data. Based on that, it will change. When it sees a plant, it knows what type of plant it is, right? Because
Crazy.
the vision, right? It
Yeah,
knows
I
what
remember you
type
telling
of
me about
plant
it
it
last
is.
time.
So it
Yeah.
can distinguish between a weed and a good plant, right? And it can plant also. It can go make a hole, then put some seeds, then it does all that. So I was amazed with this. I didn't know about it, but people, especially in suburbs and also cities, can take that, put it. I was thinking of trying that out, but I don't need it. My farm is big, so I might try that out just as an experiment, to see how, because from engineering, I would like to learn how it works, what are the different tools they're using, things like that.
You should
But
try
they
it
claim that they have shipped thousands of these machines all over the world.
already.
Yeah. So this is, something that we have not heard of, right? I mean, like this, there's so much is happening so fast. It is really, really, really mind-boggling. And I read a lot. I read your journal every day,
Yeah.
absolutely. But like that, I read about at least 15 to 20 journals, sequence, rundown, you name it, I read.
Yeah, you need to.
So because you need to keep in touch, it's hard to keep in touch, right? And I come across interesting things people are doing with AI. It is mind-boggling. It is in commercial, like scientific areas. Some
Yeah.
of it is just day to day. How
Yeah.
people are making it work for them. I think it's interesting. For me, as an engineer, I'm finding phenomenal. More than the foundation models, I'm not on the foundation model side, but I'm on the application side. How can I make something work? Uh, you know, um, for me, for my company, for my customers. So the application side, that's I'm an engineer, right? I'm not a scientist. So
Yeah.
for me, that itself is fascinating. You can do so much now with these. Other day you saw the demo, right? If you had asked me 18 months ago, can you do something like this? You're just telling in English. This is login, do this, and that's it.
Yeah.
That guy bot can figure out multiple tabs, single tab. It knows everything and navigates it. It puts a bounding box, it tests it, gives you the nice PDF saying this is exactly what I did. So my input was 10 minutes, maybe less, depending on the use case, maybe a little bit more. It does everything else for me. How can a human compete with that?
Yes, it's very
We
hard.
cannot test it
Very
that fast. There's no way we can test it.
Yeah.
So I showed that one yesterday to one of my partners. They have a cloud-based software platform. The person I spoke to is the head of QA, and he is very well versed, and their platform is very sophisticated. So we were showcasing how our testing platform can help them because they are also in life sciences. So he was impressed with. I'm talking to a techie guy, right? So it makes me feel good. Whether he's going to use my product or not, that's a different question. I hope he does, right? But he was asking the right questions. He was going deeper. But when we showed him how we have built it, what technology we have used, and how does it really work in front of him, we showed him, like I showed you. He was very impressed. For me, that's important, right? A technology guy giving me good feedback means at least I'm on the right track, right?
Hundred
I'm not,
percent.
I'm
Because you need
not
to know that
going astray now.
you're doing the right sort of thing, and you're especially when you're speaking to someone that's like I was saying to my friend the other day, like in this area at the moment, it's so nice to see people like even if I'm not passionate about it, that are passionate about it because you can just get that sense like they know they're the people that stay up late reading
Yeah,
journals or reading articles or watching documentaries or watching explainer videos, whatever it is, or talking to that group, and they'll do it at their personal expense because they are just like you said when you're growing up, like they're just fascinated by how the shit works, and it's just like what makes this tick.
yeah. What
Like,
makes it work, and
yeah,
what can I do with it, right? So you
yeah,
have to experiment with it. So what I have done, obviously, time is for people like you and me. Time is the hottest commodity, right? We don't have enough time in a
yes,
day. So let's say I'm gardening. I love gardening now because I have my own farm. I'm
mm,
learning because I
mm,
was farming was not in my DNA, but now I think it is a little bit, So because
I think
it's
it's
coming
very much
together.
in your
It's
DNA.
coming
I think
together
you're going to
very
be like an expert
nicely.
farmer. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll be within a year or two. I'll be an expert farmer. You'll see how much fruits and vegetables I can grow in my farm. But what I do is when I'm doing, I either the two things I'm really interested. One is my technology, like since I run a company, I have a responsibility to guide my teams the right way. Or if they're coming with a solution, I need to be able to critique it, right? So that, poke holes. Without knowing it, how can I poke holes, right? I cannot do that. So ultimately, I'm responsible to make sure that this technology I can sell, right, to my customers.
Yes.
That's okay, give one thing, not a big deal. Other one is spirituality, which for me is very important because they're all linked. You think it's, oh, what is spirituality do with technology? You know, if you are not calm inside, irrespective of all the chatter we all of us will see, right? Email, phones, podcasts, whatever, right?
A lot of noise.
You cannot be calmer inside. Your mind is like a monkey jumping inside, tuck, 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 right? So for me, my spirituality gives me grounded. The calmer I am, the more creative I am, more confident I am, and I can communicate with people better. Right now, I'm not thinking of anything.
Yeah.
I am just Tom
Focus.
and me, and that's it. Everything else goes away.
Where did that
So,
start? Yeah. Where did
yeah,
it start?
so
Like, where did you start? Have you always been like spiritual, or was it something that? Uh,
no, actually, no. This was about maybe my wife lost her father around 2006. Okay, so he was very close to me, and obviously she was very close to him. So she was both of us were around 40 years that time. Typically midlife crisis kind of hits. So for her, she kind of went into spirituality after that. She was kind of searching, meaning father died. It was a big episode for her, then somehow she took that turn and started exploring. We didn't even know where to start. She didn't know, I didn't know. So she started exploring. We found some gurus on the internet, right? We started listening to some lectures, everything in the domain of Hinduism, right? Because Hinduism is very rich in spirituality.
yeah.
So we, even though we were born in India, Hindus, you know, didn't take the time to study the Gita, the Upanishads, the Vedas, we didn't take the time. So we didn't do that either. We came to the US, we were busy building the company, working together, whatnot. When her father passed away, then she started kind of going deeper and deeper, trying to figure out what to do. Took us some time. Then she was trying to feed me with whatever she found. And our thinking is very good, meaning our interests are similar. So I said, yeah, this sounds interesting. Let me also see what I can learn from here. So, but she was doing more than me, but she was giving me all the nuances and also whatever she was finding, she was filtering it out and giving it to me. It makes it made very easy for me. Then this happened. Still, we didn't know where we were going because it's hard, right? Without a proper guru or a teacher to guide you, it's very difficult. So uh, Dayanand Saraswati is a spiritual master. He's no longer there, but he is a spiritual master. Even Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, uh, used to be a student at one time. He has many gurus, but he was one of them. So he has an ashram in Poconos in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So she went there, to one of those lectures. Then everything changed. After that,
Really?
everything changed after that. So we started attending lectures and retreats, lectures. And this is not religious. Religion is a very small portion. Yeah, I would say 95% is spirituality. Religion is to keep you a little bit grounded. That's it. But everything is about spirituality. Then we started getting into the Gita, the Upanishads. That took us on a different trip altogether. Meaning, we were amazed. It was mind blowing how little we knew about. Forget everything else. Who am I?
Yeah. Really
What is
deep look
my
into who
purpose?
you
What is
are.
my purpose on this earth? Why is the world this way? Why am I
Yeah.
this way? Am I the body? Am I the mind? Am I something beyond the mind?
Yeah.
So my religion, which is Hinduism, offers a lot of those answers. So that's why people get deep into Gita and and the Upanishads. So that actually took me into a different journey. So now I realize that it just not helps you to be a better human or at least reflect on things, something that a normal person may not think about because we always look outside our body, right? We have five senses, we perceive through our five senses, But a lot of times we don't know how to look inside because we don't have an eye looking inside. So that's the sixth eye is in our case, is the Vedas, the scriptures. That's a sixth eye. So we need to use that to, kind of turn the eye inside. So I look inside myself, right? So it is beyond the mind. Mind is just one aspect of it because we know, for example, how do you know what you're thinking? You as a person, Tom, you know how the mind is working because thoughts come, correct?
Yeah, very
So
fast sometimes.
what is that beyond the thoughts?
Yeah.
So somebody is watching the thoughts, right? So that means you are not the thought because thought is happening and you can watch your thoughts, right? You know how the mind is working. So what is that? What is that? You might call it the soul, right? Uh, in Sanskrit, we call it the Atma. So what is that Atma? So what is it? Where is it? So just, let's say I'm sick, still working, man. I mean, your body is sick, yes, but you are still ticking. You can think, you can reflect, you can do many things, even though you might be in pain. That is the body level. That's very superficial, right?
Yeah.
So, what is that really? What is that voice inside me? We call it the conscience. What is the conscience? Where is that?
Yeah.
So that it's. I think I have a very small understanding of it because last 15 years we have done a lot of studying, and it may be a lifetime of learning to figure out all these things, and not only figure out but also completely absorb it. So you are that, right? Meaning one is to study, right? I can study engineering, but I have to apply it, right? I have to become an engineer. There's a difference. Studying is different from becoming an
Fine.
engineer or a doctor. So like that, this spirituality has taken us on a different track, and it has helped me be a better father, better son, better employer, better manager, better friend,
Yeah, better
everything.
business owner. Yeah.
Better, more creative. So it's also has its own tangible benefits in real life, but also there are a lot of intangible benefits as well.
It's really interesting. Did it, when you were first going down that path, did it leave you quite confused for a while? Because you were getting all these quite deep questions about, like, well, not deep, insightful questions into yourself that you hadn't asked in the way you'd asked before or made you realize. And when that's happened to me before, I know I go to like Tony Robbins and different things and all these. So it's not like I'm not religious whatsoever, but I do believe in spirit and into like thinking more positive than negative, all those kind of things. And I have a lot of things like these, which is from it's like I forget the saying, but it's like a Chinese verb to basically say bring wealth and good fortune and health, like not wealth in money ways, but wealth in good
Correct.
relationships, good health, good and money as well financially. Um, but did it leave you like confused, or how did you feel like after the first few weeks?
No, I was not confused. My wife and I were doing it together, so we were
Yeah,
fellow students, so that helped us. Remember, I was talking to you about that ashram in Poconos, so where like-minded people come, meaning people who are like me, who want to learn. So we ended up meeting more people who are into spirituality, wanted to learn. So that helped us like communicate with them, and also we had teachers there like Puja Swamiji, Dayanand Saraswati, and his disciples were there. We could talk to them also. So initially it was fascination, saying, "Wow, I write. I never looked at it this way."
yeah, I definitely looked at it the wrong way. That's what would
And
happen to me. I'd
the
be fascinated by
confusion was there as to, like you asked me, right? Where will I start? And
it.
what what do I study? And how do I study, right? So then we slowly started interacting with the teachers, and we kind of got to know what what's the best way to do it. So we went back to the basics, and did many of the things because there is a text called Tattva Bodha. So it gives us the technical terms. If you want to know spirituality, at least in everything is in Sanskrit, right? In all our scriptures are in Sanskrit. So you need to know some technical terms. So that gives us the basic foundation of, and it was, I believe it was written by Adi Shankaracharya, who was one of the premier gurus, right?
Got you.
So it was written by this great person, great teacher. So we started there. Then we went into the Gita. Gita is 18 chapters, 700 plus verses, and it's hard to understand Gita. Meaning, literally anybody can understand, but that's not good enough. You need
Yeah,
a teacher to what is the context of it, because Krishna in Gita, chapter 1 might say something, maybe that's next 17th chapter or 16th chapter, you feel that Krishna is contradicting. He says something here, he says something. So you need a teacher to explain what was the thought process, how do you, and it's left to interpretation, obviously. Our God Krishna is not here to tell me that, right? So it's through the teachers I learn, oh, maybe this is how I should need to interpret it.
Yeah.
So we need to trust the teacher because there is no scientific proof for all of these things, right?
Yeah.
So you have to trust the teacher and logically saying, oh, yeah, it does make sense, connect the dots, read more about other teachers who have commented on it. So it's endless. If you go, then I realize that how deep this is, how many people before me have done work to explain to people like me. So
Yeah.
it was mind-blowing experience. So we still continue that. So we went from Gita, we went into some 6, 7 Upanishads we did. So all it's trying to answer is, who am I? That's all it's trying to answer. That's it. It's a very simple question. Who am I? In Hinduism, what we say is, people think that we worship idols in Hindus. That is nursery. That is because our God is Brahman, for example. Brahman means, he's. I should not use the word he because God cannot be he. Because if he's he cannot be she. If he's she, he cannot be an animal. So it means he's limited. So the idea is that what is really God? The closest thing that can come to God is maybe space, but God has to be subtler than space. The reason is God cannot have attributes. If God has attributes, then he is limited. Let's say he's white like you or dark like me, then he cannot be both at the same given time. So he or she, I'm using the word he, but just to make it easy for conversation's sake.
Yeah.
But that's what the scriptures teach us is he's in all of us. The example my teacher gave me is, so let's look at electricity, right? For example, electricity is something that I don't see. Of course, we think that it's going through the wires. It is through the copper wires or whatever it's flowing. It powers my computer, my light, everything. But where exactly is electricity? I don't see it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the software. I don't see the software, right? But
Yeah.
it can
You
do
can, but
things
it's
for me.
there.
So they say consciousness is God, right? One of the definitions of God in my scriptures, right? It's God. It has to be everywhere. It is a basic substratum for the entire cosmos. So we are like an electric bulb or a fan. When we plug into this consciousness, the fan turns, the light blows. So through our body and the way we are designed, we are plugging into that consciousness. So consciousness on its own cannot do anything, but without that, nothing exists. So it's kind of contradictory, So I'm still trying to understand all these things because it's difficult concepts.
Yeah.
But it's much better than where I was 15 years ago. Let me put it that way.
But I think it's interesting because you'll never fully like. It's got me thinking about how I look at situations, and I mean, the big thing at the moment is like I think the world's kind of going mad at the moment a little bit with all the noise and all the things going on, and it's like I believe in like I don't necessarily don't or do believe in God and things and all this. Like the person I train with at the gym, we always go back and forth on because he's very religious and back and forth on his ideas and a very friendly. Like, he's a good friend,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's interesting to hear all the different things because spirituality. I really believe in like what you're saying. Like, there's nothing, but it does make you question the things of like, especially your point about software. You can't see it, but it runs on the screen. It's like there it is, but like I can't take it out the screen and place it like I
It's
can with
almost
my
like the
phone.
mind. It's
Yeah,
almost like the mind. So I don't see the mind, right? Where is it? Scientists say it's in the brain. I
yeah,
don't know where it's in the brain. Maybe it's somewhere else,
yeah. Maybe it's
because my brain can get sick. My mind can never get sick.
yeah, like yeah, that's a really good point. Like isn't it? Is it a bit of aura? Like how you have like I see in that kind of stuff, like you have a sphere around
So,
you.
there, my scriptures also explains that. I mean, it can be. You might think I'm talking garbage here, but you need to really, if you have, I mean, makes sense. Basically, what um the the scriptures talk about is again not religious. It's on spirituality. It is universal. It applies to any human who wants to learn can learn. It's nothing to do with religion. So basically, there's the gross body, right? We have the physical body. Then you have the subtle body, which is the mind is part of the subtle body. That is still body, but it's a subtle body. Then you have one level deeper, which is the substratum for all these things, right? So, for example, when I sleep, deep sleep, I'm talking about, I
REM
really
sleep.
don't exist. As Nagesh, I don't exist. Meaning, I don't know what my body is. I don't know where I am. No concept of time.
Yeah, you're in
I'm
la
not
la
even talking
land.
about the dream state. I'm talking about the deep sleep state, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Wait,
when I get up, I feel very relaxed.
like REM sleep, that kind of
Yeah,
sleep.
REM sleep, exactly. When I'm in deep sleep, right? Because the concept of Nagesh is gone, meaning the body, my place, how I am, my ego, everything is gone, right? And mind also stops working. At that state, mind also is shuts down. So, but still I'm alive, right? So that is like your core body, that state I'm talking about, that
Yeah.
state. But I come back, then it happens. Let's look at the dream state. Dream is what? Based on, it sometimes feels random, but all that is based on your own beliefs, your own learnings, your own impressions, something that happened that day, maybe. But the dream is created by my mind.
Yeah.
So my mind is creating the dream and you feel it's real, right? Sometimes I feel I am in the dream, or sometimes you're watching the dream. I get scared, I think that is real, right? So the idea is that that is my dream state, deep state, nothing happens. It's just a black thing. But what we should understand that the real world also is something like a dream state. We take it too seriously. You understand, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is like a superimposition, So when I'm in dream state, I think that is real. I forget about the real world. The dreams that I created, right? Meaning my mind created, I feel that is really real unless I get up. I get up, then it's gone.
Snap out of it. Yeah.
So, but the idea is that even this, we should not take the physical world also too seriously in sense that it's also like another dream, a different level of reality. So that's because if you look at the world also, it depends on what your mind is interpreting the world. The way you see the world is not same as way I see the world. Even colors, for example, maybe I'm colorblind. You might say this is yellow. I might say this is white, right? And how you think of maybe President Trump maybe very different from how I think of President Trump.
Yeah.
How I see the war in Gaza maybe very different than how you see the war.
Or how I see you, Nagesh, is very different to how your wife or close friends see, like your family
Exactly.
or whatever. And I
Yeah.
think
So the
that's
idea is that really I am creating the world through
yeah,
my mind
yeah.
and my experiences or whatever. It's like dream only. It is.
So I heard a quote that basically said, every person has a different version of you. And I can't remember,
Yeah.
it was basically
Yeah.
along those
Yeah.
lines. And I was like, even my mum and dad or my brothers, they've all got a different perception compared to like a
They see
partner,
you
a
differently.
best friend, another best friend, yourself,
Absolutely.
my business partner. They've all got their own, it might be very, very similar, but there'll be tweaks in there, things that they either don't know or things that they haven't seen that obviously creates a different picture of you. Like and that really blew my mind. I was like, whoa.
No, that is right, and that's why in real life also we
Yeah.
play a role, right? Let's say I'm talking to you, I'm playing a certain role. When I'm talking to my son, I play a role. When I'm talking to my father, I play a role. So we need to have that air gap, meaning you have a role to play, and we're always playing a role
Yes.
no matter what. You're buying something, you're playing a role as a customer, right? So you're always playing a role. So we need to have a gap saying we always have to be grounded. So inside, we have to have this line here, equanimity. So for me, nothing will impact me. I'm a happy person. My true nature is happiness. I'm light. I'm not darkness. Okay. So I have a role to play. Let's say I'm mad at you. Really should not get mad because if you're a true mature person, anger is bad. It's violence. Okay, so, but I have to show you that I'm angry. But that's a role I have to play. But internally, deep inside me, I have to be calm.
Yeah.
So you
Calm.
become an actor. You're acting all the time. Different roles. But the true self and the acting, there is a difference. There is an air gap. So just because a movie actor plays a role of a beggar, he or she is not a beggar.
Yeah.
He or she is playing a role of a beggar. So like that, we also play different roles. So in real world, if you can kind of understand this concept, you can get from morning till evening till you sleep and get up. Life becomes a lot easier, because we should not let the world impact you so seriously that that you cannot function anymore. So it can cause depression, it can cause this. So I'll tell you a story here. My teacher is a very small story. So there was a merchant, and he owned a lot of ships. Very rich guy. He owned a lot of ships, but he was also very spiritual at the same time. So one of his ships.
Is this a real story or is it a fictional
No, no,
story?
no. It's not a real story. Just to
Yeah,
drive home the concept.
yeah, yeah.
The A ship was crossing Suez Canal and it sank. So one of his managers came and said, "Sir, we just got this news. This particular ship is gone. We are going to lose millions of dollars." So his initial reaction was, "What? I'm going to lose so many millions of dollars." But the spirituality side of him kicked in, and he said, within a few seconds, he said, "So what?" Meaning it's okay, meaning it's outside me, everything is happening. So let's say you lose the closest friend or a son or a daughter. Can you say, "So what"? It's difficult. The reason is you're letting the outside world impact you. The idea is that the core self, whatever you call that self is, that cannot be impacted by the world, no matter what happens. Can you be like that? And there's a concept called FIR. Again, my spiritual teacher taught me this: frequency, intensity, response. He calls it the FIR concept. So the idea is that our the way we interact or way we feel inside should be like this: straight line. No matter what happens, can I achieve that? Most humans cannot achieve that. The reason is we are very emotional people. We take in input, we act in such a way. We get angry, we get depressed, we are happy, we're doing that. That is how we should not behave. We should always have that straight line. So it's impossible or next to impossible, right? Maybe there's small percentage of people who can manage it. You need to be like a hermit somewhere, like totally detached, and then nothing impacts, right? So it's very difficult. So the idea is that when the frequency something comes in, we listen to it, and our mood might go like that, like it goes like that, then takes some time, we come back to that line again, right? So frequency goes like that, like that, like that. So the idea is that over time we should reduce the frequency. So we should avoid the peaks and valleys we can have, maybe through
So more like stable.
auto-suggestion.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe, I was having 100 a day. Now I'm down to 5 a day, maybe, because most of the other things don't impact me. So that's frequency. And there's intensity. How much you deviate from that line. Am I going to get very angry, then drop again, right? That's intensity. One is frequency, that's intensity. So over time, our intensity also should come down. Let's say a year ago, you reacted like this. You got really angry with your son for same thing. Let's say a year later, you're a little bit more mature now. The same thing happened again. Your intensity might be very much lower than what happened a year ago, for example. And the response to it also. One is intensity. Then how do I respond to that, right? Let's say I'm totally angry. I might hit you, for example. Let's say
right.
because I got mad at you. So that's my response. But technically, that's a wrong response. Meaning, if I'm really want to be grounded completely, nothing should impact. That didn't impact me at all. Then why am I hitting you? It didn't matter to me.
Yeah,
So the idea is that it has to be straight line, but we cannot. At least we should try to reduce the frequency, reduce the intensity, and control the response. So it's simple concept, but you need to do that anytime that something that is impacting your mood happens. You have to kind of auto-suggest and say, why is this impacting me? Can I react better?
yeah,
And as a more mature person, then, So successful people are like this. Nothing will
yeah.
impact them.
Very
They are
calm,
watching,
stable.
very calm. They stay.
Yeah,
And that calmness gives them not only maturity, but more creativity.
yeah, and
If you're
clarity.
not calm, you cannot be creative. I'll write it on a piece of paper and give it to you. You cannot be creative if you are not calm.
Unless you're Steve Jobs. He was pretty creative, but he was crazy.
But these people are off the charts, right? Those are the people that are off the charts. There's
Yeah,
something incredible.
yeah. They're
But normal human is not there, right? How many
yeah.
people can be Steve Jobs?
Oh, they're one in a million, if not more, one
Yeah,
in a million. Like they really are. Like odds.
right. They're all off the charts. Count them out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say
No,
they're
very good.
supernatural. They're supernatural.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But it does make you think, like, how do you think there's a like when you first did this, when you first did you realize the first time you reflected on a situation after you started obviously learning all this, where you would have got annoyed before, and you thought, let's just take a step back and reassess the situation? Because I can't see you as I've never seen you as an angry person, but I can't imagine you as an angry person. I've just seen you always as
No, no,
calm,
you're
take it as it
absolutely right.
comes, but be very focused on what I want.
But
Like that's not saying I'm
the
not driven, but yeah,
yeah, sorry. Um, no, over time, it has changed. So because see, I was also young when I started my company, '96. I was 28 years old, right? Very driven, and I was an immigrant, right? I came from India to United States.
yeah,
Not much support. I was 28. I just got my master's, worked for 2 3 years. Then I started my own company. Didn't know what I was doing. My wife and I worked very hard, but the drive was there to learn, right? When that comes, we are very emotional. When you're very driven, we are very emotional also, correct?
very hungry. Yeah,
So very hungry, and we take things too seriously. We are always, want to go, 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 kind of a thing.
push, push. Yeah,
That is good, but if you can complement that with calmness,
yes,
it'll be 10x. The
yeah,
output can be 10x. So this spirituality is kind of, put me in the right direction. Took some time, but now I know that first of all, the basic, um, the any vice that you have, right? Jealousy, anger, everything. The 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 fundamental thing is violence. So any of the other things that you have could be anger, it could be jealousy. The the it's basically violence. Let's say, for example, I hate you. Inside, I'm thinking I don't like Tom. But
yeah,
I may not even tell that. You may not physically be able to see that. But that is violence. It could be a mental thing. It's violence. Physically, I hit you. That's violence. If I get angry, that's violence. So any of the 20, 30, 50 vices that you might have, the root cause is everything is actually a different form of violence.
right.
So you need to ask yourself, I have this bad habit, so called bad habit. So it's basically violence. Do I want to be violent, or do you want to be a calm, nice gentleman? You need to ask that. So if you think like that, right, even if somebody says, does something really bad, you won't get angry.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter really, because it's okay. And physical things, money, everything that's outside us, it'll come and go.
yeah,
It's bound to change. It's
yeah,
not fixed. It's not for perpetuity.
yeah,
The only thing that's in perpetuity is myself, my inside calmness, my knowledge that I gain. So knowledge, I'm saying, one is academic knowledge, right? Science, math, and all that. That is, to me, nursery. I mean, kindergarten stuff. You could be a PhD guy. That's kindergarten. What I want to learn is, who am I? How can I be a better person? How can I manage myself in a better way? How can I be more spiritual?
yeah,
That is the toughest thing. That is more than a PhD.
yeah. It's that's like it's like $1 million question, that kind of thing. Like, how do you? Yeah, it's a constant journey. Like,
It's a
how can
constant
you
journey.
always try and be better than yourself? 1% better every single day, I guess, is what I try and do. And some days you don't do as much, or you feel a bit more tired, or whatever. Like you have off days. But I think it isn't. I don't know if enough people do it. Like it's like breathing, for example. Like the amount of, and I'm not here to preach some, like I'm not a fitness guru or anything, but it's amazing. Like when I was reading about like the stats, and you might know this or have like similar experiences working with pharmaceuticals and the medical sector and all that kind of stuff, which I want to touch on later. But it's amazing like how much the NHS over here, likely, I don't know the numbers, but I'd imagine how much it could be less impacted if people just took a bit more time to focus on themselves, go for a walk, fit 10K steps in, or have something like gardening so that, you don't need to go run a marathon or run 5K, but and just to breathe as well. Like I got my parents doing a breathing exercise, and my mum used to get like dizzy, like bending over. Now she doesn't get dizzy because she's just breathing and your body's getting oxygenated, and it gives you a head rush because it's like, this is how much oxygen I should be having on a regular basis. Like, what's happening? And I remember I was like getting checked out for something, and they were like, yeah, you're breathing. Obviously, my blood oxygen level was still high or still in a good range. But they're like, you're breathing at like 80%, 75% capacity or something. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, and they started making like adjustments, teaching me how to breathe through. And it's like all of a sudden, like, it does take you. And you're like, wow. Like, I feel like I always want to feel like this. Like, what was I doing before? Like, it's crazy.
You should try pranayama, the yoga exercises that will
What's it
really
called?
help
I'm
you.
going to type it in.
So basically, right, Tom, none of us know, most of us don't know how to breathe.
Yeah.
We are very shallow breathers. So the let's say you get very angry, you can try a typical technique. You're stressed, you are angry or whatever. You just let's just sit like this,
Yeah.
right? Like like cross-legged. It's difficult on the chair, but cross-legged, sit straight, right? And just do this.
Breathe. What, you hold it on your nose?
You take it in one nostril, right? It's one of the techniques. You take it through one nostril, you shut the other nostril, right? Take a deep breath, but you have to watch your breath. It has to hit your stomach. You need to kind of feel it. Hold it there, however long you can. Then breathe it through the other nostril, right?
Ah, okay.
So you can keep alternating. There are different techniques, but this is one of the techniques. Just 10 or 5 of these things you do, you will calm down.
Yeah,
That's the power of breathing.
it is.
So we don't know how we don't know how to breathe. So these are typical yoga exercises that it's very common in India, all over the world also now, because yoga is becoming very popular, right?
Yeah.
So these are very simple techniques, and like you said, you don't have to run a marathon. This is simple breathing. You don't need anything. If you have a mat, great. If you don't have a mat, sit on the floor. It's not a
Yeah.
big deal.
Not gonna hurt you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think morning I get up. Typically, I get up around 4:30 in the morning, and
Yeah, that's a bit too early for me.
first thing I have is a shower. I don't do coffee, nothing. I have a shower and
Yeah.
feel clean that time.
Yeah.
Then I live in a farm, right? It's pitch dark. There's no light pollution. I take a small mat, and I just go outside and meditate for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and it's dark, the air is very fresh, and I try my best to concentrate because mind, always wanders. So that gives you positive energy and calmness,
Yes.
it does that. And simple things like watching the sunrise, watching the sunset, watching the raindrop, watching a small ant walk,
Yeah.
it's walking.
Beautiful things we don't pay attention to.
Beautiful things, beautiful flowers. If you look at it in nature, they said, how can the plant create the flower, which I cannot? It is so beautiful, it is so perfect. I'm not able to create something like that. So if you can take pleasures like that, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to give up your work.
Yeah.
You can do all that. You can only do better if you can practice these simple things. And
Yeah.
we should remove violence from our dictionary.
Yeah.
We should not, violence will not give you calmness.
Yeah.
And your true nature is being loving, compassionate, light. We are not darkness, right? So all the darkness and bad habits, everything, it's all because of ignorance. If you really, basically, all of us are good, Tom. There's nothing like a bad person.
Yeah.
It is just the ignorance that you have and the influence, your what we call satsang, meaning your compatriots, the people with you move, in talk, they influence you. And you're so ignorant that, you probably get influenced by them. Maybe you're weaker, whatever it is, right? So as we grow, especially after you become 30, 40 years, then we can be mature and think for ourselves. Not let media impact you, not let people around you impact you that much. We should always reflect on it, think about it, not be judgmental, right? And I think this is what maturity is all about. When we call midlife crisis, right? This is what it is, in my opinion. You know, yeah. Some
It's
people
very true.
become like a teenager again, right? They want to drive a Porsche, do this, drink again, do this. Then you're regressing. You're
Yeah.
not going, up. You're going down.
Yeah.
In my opinion, yeah.
No, it's a good opinion. It's very interesting how you touched on some really good points that I've learned recently. Just about being more conscious, being more mindful. And I always have a thing, like I don't really hate anyone. Like someone said, "Do you hate people?" I was like, I don't really hate people. I mean, if they're not on the same page, or they're rude, or I don't like. Look, sometimes I have to be quite direct at work, like because we're in media, we get a lot of not pressure, but a lot of communications. I just have to filter through the noise and think what's important to a customer, what's important to our readers. Those are the two core, from a business point of view. Obviously, personally, I'm a bit separate, but in the business, those are like the two core areas I'm always looking at. Is it good for the customer and is it good for the reader? Because the reader to us is ultimately our customer because they feed the
Correct.
customers to bring an audience through. It's a I mean, I always say, Nagesh, my next business, I don't think I'll be going into media. It's a very hard business to run. It's very hard to get people
It's a
buying
tough
from.
business.
It's a
It's a
very
tough
tough. I
business.
picked a very tough business to start with, so I don't know what I'll move on to when I change. But my point is, I was always saying, I just don't hate people, Nagesh. I just think if I don't want to talk to them, I ignore them. Like it's like if you're not adding anything or doing anything, I'm not even going to give you the energy of hating you.
I agree.
And I
That's a
and I
smart
catch
move.
myself out of it, and I'm like, oh, I'm so annoyed, I'm so pissed off, I'm this, I'm that, and it's like just take a step back, man. Like, look, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and I can
That's
figure this
true.
out. Sometimes people get annoyed at us, or sometimes we don't deliver things on time, or sometimes we don't. I'm only human, but it makes you think like the world's gonna keep turning, whether I'm here or
I
whether I'm
agree.
annoyed or whatever.
100%.
It's
What will keep turning? Sun will come up,
exactly. One thing's guaranteed: the sun will
And
come
the,
up
and the
every morning.
thing is, Tom, when you get angry like that, more than the other person, it impacts you more.
Yeah,
Because the poison in you, the anger in you, your mood is lost, it's not good for your heart, right? Imagine your stomach, you'll have some kind of an acid in your stomach because of that anger. So what is happening? You're impacting your own body with that. So you cannot let that. Body is a temple. We have to worship it. So we cannot abuse it. And each time you go through like that, you're abusing your body.
yeah, yeah. Like each time you go,
You can only take so much, right?
yeah,
Why do we feel bad when we get angry? I mean, your stomach doesn't feel right,
yeah, you feel off.
head doesn't feel right, right? After that,
Freshen up.
you
You're
feel
not
tired, you got tight,
fat.
you got tight in all that. But that's not good for the body. Let's say you do keep doing it 10 times a day, you're going to die soon.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a leading like heart disease and heart attacks and strokes and respiratory issues are one of the leading causes of death. And you wonder how many would be solved. Back to my point earlier, by people just. I'm not saying be lazy. I'm not saying sit around and do nothing. Like I think that's another like core. I don't know. Like I saw some study. I'm going to get this wrong, so check it out yourselves. But like how when people become retired, it's quite a high chance that you're going to die because you kind of, or not that you're going to die, but like people do pass away because you've almost lost like a purpose in life. You've lost a passion. It's not to say you shouldn't retire, but it does mean you should have passions and hobbies
Yeah,
and
do
things
something
like
different now, right?
something.
It's a
Yeah,
new
like
chapter. It's a new chapter.
yeah,
Travel, maybe garden, or do
exactly,
social service, or go
exactly.
on spirituality path. Something
Yeah,
new. But
exactly.
learning should not stop, Tom. You retire
Exactly.
or not, it's an arbitrary line.
Yes.
Just because I don't have a professional job, that doesn't mean I retire. Yeah, what? I'm just
Exactly.
learning different. I become a student again. Maybe I'll go back to the university. You're right. We should never idle. We always keep thinking. Always keep thinking. And learning more. Knowledge is limitless. One life is not enough to learn everything. Right? It's impossible.
Yeah.
There's always things to learn. Reflect on things. But that's your another, since you're out of professional setup, meaning you don't have the same responsibilities, going to work, getting a salary, doing all that.
Yes.
Now there is more freedom. In fact, you should leverage that to do things that you never did,
Yes.
or learn something new, maybe a different person altogether, right? And
Yeah.
health will automatically improve. Health will not deteriorate.
Yeah.
Impossible. Impossible.
Impossible. Have you ever done like the breathing exercises I do are through Wim Hof? Have you ever done those?
No.
Wim Hof's breathing is pretty good. It's kind of similar to what it's not. It's very. I mean, you can do one for 10 minutes, and you feel great afterwards. And I did one for the first time at Tony Robbins seminar, and it's amazing. Like you just breathe in and breathe out, so you go in this cycle of like quite quick for 10 rounds, and at the end of it, you breathe all the way in. And the first time you do a minute, but like by the third time, Nagesh, I can hold my breath for like 2.5 minutes, and it's like wow,
That's incredible, right?
and it's
But I
crazy.
do, I mean, I'm not exactly that, but since I practice yoga, so
Yeah,
I do different kinds of breathing exercises. There are many, many techniques for that, like sometimes you push it out, you push it
yeah,
out, you take deep breath and you push it out with a lot of, you want to all use your stomach, your muscles and push it out. It takes effort.
Yeah.
Then you can also close your eyes like this and hum. When you close your ears, sorry, and close your eyes and hum, the sound really like om. If I chant, right, it can reverberate through my body. It feels very good.
Yeah.
When you do that, there's so many techniques like that. And endless almost. And
That's
depending
what I
on
love
what
about
you
it.
want, what you like, yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying, Nagesh, it's what I like about it because it's an endless technique and it's kind of similar to technology. Technology, there's just endless things you can do. I think it's the more things I see, the more ideas we get for businesses, and the more ideas we get. And do you think there's a problem, like with the amount of, or not a problem? Like, how do you view it with the amount of technology we've got now? Like you were saying, how the amount of tabs you've got. I know a lot of people that keep a lot of tabs open. They do a lot of digital. They're much more digital literature, and like they rely on it for all sorts of things. How do you think you balance like the health and wellness of being in the world, like you said, like appreciating the small, beautiful things while also
That
relying
is
more on
the
technology.
grounding I talked about, right, Tom?
Yeah,
The grounding. If you're a very well grounded person, you will never lose sight of the direction that you want to go, right? So,
yeah,
mind is like a monkey. It keeps going like, oh, there's a nice cup of brandy here. Let me drink. I'm working. Nobody's there. I'm remote working anyway.
Brandy is good.
So, I know it's not good for my health. If I have my mind control, I won't do it. So, whatever you just said, it's same thing like that. Like the number of tabs open. It's also alcohol or drugs, for example, right? So you cannot let that control you. For example, having a drink once in a way, I don't think it's a bad deal, but you cannot let the drink control you. Meaning, the point you reach and saying that if I don't have that, I cannot function. There is a problem.
Yeah, then you've got a
You
situation.
cannot let that happen. Whatever it is in life, whether it is surfing, whether it's drinking, we're taking drugs, um, I don't drink, I don't take drugs, so I don't even, I'm a teetotaler, complete. The only thing I drink is coffee or chai, I like chai. So, but the bottom line, right, all of us are health conscious now, so we want to take care of our bodies. But everything that we do, it is like getting intoxicated. So we cannot let that happen. So we need to know, why am I surfing today? What is the purpose? You know, will that add any value to my life or to my business, the task at hand, right? If not, I should know, have mind control to shut it off.
Yeah,
So let's say I want to write a newsletter. So my focus is that. And that's the other thing. If I'm focusing on that, you should be able to focus completely on that. Forget everything else. It's all noise. Shut it off. Focus on that. Maybe I use ChatGPT. Maybe get some ideas. Take a deep dive. Get that done. Finish that task. Then we'll talk about something else. Task is done. Tabs are closed. Basically, let's move on to the next task, right?
yeah,
Uh, but this is all. It's not science, Tom. It's just your personality, and you need to maturity within you, and it works differently for each one of us. But ultimately, nothing should control your mind. You
yeah.
should control. That is the key, and it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's really I love all this spiritual stuff and like the way of looking at the world. And I mean, I read a lot of books to try and understand things, but also try and understand from like really successful people how they view the world and like
That is
what is
correct.
it? Why am I locked in? And like even with like I really am not political whatsoever. Like I like to think I'm very centered. Like it's a whole different topic that I don't that I think's just getting out of control. But it does make me think like all these people that get so attached to an idea. It's just an idea. Like 1,000 other people have had the same idea, and it's there's a great saying like there's one saying which I love, one of my favorite films. It's just a bit childish, but I love Kung Fu Panda. And another one is where it basically says people that are anxious look at the past. People that are apprehensive or like looking forward look in the future, and the people that are focused are in the present. And it's a very true thing. Like you're anxious if you look in the past. Oh,
Absolutely.
sorry, you're anxious if you're looking in the future. You're depressed if you're looking in the past, and you're
Absolutely.
focused if you're in the present. And then there's another saying which you might like is yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. And it's like
Absolutely.
it's a brilliant saying. It
It's
really stuck
simple,
with me.
but a lot of time we don't live in the present, right?
Exactly.
So even when I am watching something nice that I'm enjoying it, I don't even like to take photos or because it kind of spoils the whole thing. If let's say
Yeah.
I'm in a concert,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that music, for example. if I'm trying to take a video of that, a photo of that, I'm not really enjoying it. For me, I need to get rid of everything. I'm enjoying it. I just want to be focused on that, and not taking photos or videos and things like that. So bottom line is, it's like living in the present, right? You have to live in the present. If you don't learn how to live in the present, you either will be depressed or you'll be anxious, like you said.
Yeah, it's really true. What taking it to what you're doing with XLM at the moment, like not really changing the gears too much, but how do you apply that kind of thinking, like when you look back at mistakes you made when you first started, or things that you can take forward? Obviously, you have to stay present, but at the same time, you do have to learn from past mistakes. Like if a member of staff or a company or a person keeps making the same mistakes, it's like you need to learn from your past, not necessarily stay in it, but look at it. Like, are there any ways you look at that for like the big lessons you've learned recently, like building the business or through COVID and adapting through COVID and like from when you were 28, like how's that all changed?
What has changed? One thing is my organization is very flat. I don't believe in your British hierarchy. Generally British tend to be, if you look back in history, right, very hierarchical, and India is like that. When I was born, like you always say sir. You have like levels. The CEO, then vice president, this, that. For me, that doesn't work in the modern world, especially in the tech. So we have to be more flexible, more agile, and we have to build scrum teams, right? Like small groups of people, self-contained for the most part. They know what to do on a daily basis and also on the product delivery basis. We go sprint to sprint. So one thing is I like a flat organization. So I don't like too many layers, and everybody has access to me. The intern who just started the working for us, maybe, to a seasoned employee, I tell them I'm an open door. As long as I'm not in meetings, you can ping me. I will
Yeah,
respond.
you'll talk to them about it.
And I treat the intern the same as my COO. I don't treat them any different. I
That's
have
a brilliant
respect
way
for
of doing it.
both of them, and I want to also be able to, since I am a little bit more mature, and I'm the CEO, I have to be more mature. So, and I need to make sure that that culture is important to me. That kind of a culture has to be what I believe is the right way, the way I see the world. I share it with my team.
Yeah,
And a lot of time we talk about even about spirituality. Occasionally, it's just not about building products and things like that. The reason is, if your employees are not happy, calmer, they're not going to be creative. It's going to be a mess.
yeah,
So if I'm trying to get them stressed all the time, it doesn't work.
yeah.
So
Makes sense.
it should come from within them, right? That, hey, I need to get this done because this is my goal. I enjoy doing it. So let me get done. So one is they have freedom. More and more, even the junior people have freedom. I said, I want everybody in the company to be a leader, not a follower. It's your company. Tell me what is wrong or what is right. Let's change things. Let's go in the right direction, right? But once we agree on something, we'll stick by it, right? Unless it's a really a stupid idea, we'll stick by it. We can't keep waffling all the time, right? We have
Yeah,
to be focused, get it
yeah,
done. So I openly talk about it. I'm a like an open book. I say the way it is, and I know how to communicate with them very nicely. And since most of my staff members are much younger than me, especially the developers, right? They are very young. They're 20 plus guys, right? So I like that because I can mold them, and they're good with software. They can do things like that. That's why when we shifted from legacy software to LLMs and everything, within a few months my teams were up to snuff. They were on par with what the world is doing today with all the tools and everything else. They're good at doing research, incorporating the open source concepts, reading papers. So just to answer your question, the way I've changed dramatically. One is I know how to build software teams now so that we can be successful, which I did not know long time ago, right? So that's why some of my software products did not work out well. So we are very agile at the same time. That one-on-one, making sure that I know how to get angry if I want to get angry. I know how to be compassionate when I want to be compassionate, and I need to treat them with respect. At the same time, they have a responsibility. You get freedom, but you also get responsibility, right? So they have to learn that. So it takes some time, but that culture is helping me build nice small teams. Each team is maybe 3, 4 people max,
Yeah.
right? They have a responsibility to build a product, but they're total independence. They can do the research. They can come up with good ideas. Then if my idea is bad, I don't have a problem. I am
Yeah.
happy. That means my team is smarter than me, right? That they're thinking, right? And I get them involved in even technical guys in pre-sales, demos. So I don't believe in saying that you are just a developer, just stick in the back room and keep coding. Absolutely not. I want them to know every aspect of our business. So I expose them to customers. I expose them in pre-sales demos. I know their focus is development, but there's 20% leeway. So they should do research, they should interact with customers, they should do many other things, not just develop. I inculcate that at every employee.
Yeah.
Or
Bring it right
seasoned
through.
employee, I do that.
Yeah.
Especially in software, we need leaders. We don't need
Yeah.
followers.
Yeah.
You have to be dynamic, you should be able to grasp things, see things, help each other, learn from each other, open to criticism. At the same time, if you believe in idea, present the idea, make mistakes, but learn from your mistakes. So it's just not one thing, Tom. It's just a mindset.
Yeah.
Ethical values. It is super important to me. Even if, let's say, you're the smartest guy with bad ethics, I don't want you on the team
Yeah.
about that. When it comes to ethics, there is no second thing.
What kind of things in ethics? Like it's like Tesla
Full
say, or
transparency, right?
yeah,
Full
transparent.
transparency. Not you say something in front of me, do something else. You are very political. You hate some other employee. You do something negative, right? You
Yeah.
hide things. You made a mistake. You hide things, right? That things is not. I don't care if they make mistakes, but
Yeah.
they have to be fully transparent about
Yeah.
those things and have the guts to say I screwed up.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm
Yeah.
going to be compassionate about it.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good. You made a mistake because you're going to learn from that mistake, and and we have made mistakes. My employees have made mistakes, even if it costs me a lot of
Time
grief
or energy
and
or
also
money.
time, energy. To sometimes you have to go to the customer, explain, and the customer also might get pissed off. But I need to manage that. But if my employee did everything with a straight face, was fully transparent, I will stand by them. Even if I lose money, I'm okay with it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to fire that guy.
It's a very good value to have, Nagesh.
Yeah.
It's similar to how, I mean, some of the big companies they say like we don't care. Like I know SpaceX is notorious for it because Steve, who's my business partner, AI Journal, his son is an employee at SpaceX, and they say one of the big things is just you can't lie. At the moment you lie, you're out. Like if they catch you lying about anything, like what you had for
I
lunch
will fire. My
this week,
COO is like, he has not
yeah,
even as much tolerance as I have when it
yeah,
comes to ethics. And the screening also, when we do, we check a lot of things. For example, we check the LinkedIn posts. We don't use we use tools like to do all that, but we have especially he has put a rigorous process in place. We just see on the social networks how they behave, what they say, and if you pick up even little that they're not that ethical, or they're saying something that is not in line with our culture,
yeah.
we're not going to hire them.
I feel like I'd be in trouble in a lot of businesses because I've got a very cheeky tone to me, which I can be because I've run
No,
it. But I
cheeky
mean,
tone is okay. It's
yeah,
just that you can't be conniving, you can't be malicious. Malicious. You can't have hatred. That is not allowed. You can be opinionated. That's okay. Problem. That's your opinion.
yeah,
But like you said, there's no lying. That is the most important thing.
yeah.
That
It's very
we cannot,
important.
we cannot trust them then, right?
Yeah.
Today you'll say something, tomorrow you'll do something worse than that. So we cannot trust you.
Well, it's funny because I'm very into comedy shows, and like last week I went to go see Shane Gillis, and hopefully going to go see Tim Dillon and go see Andrew Schultz and all these stand-up comedians that are big in America. So I'm looking at moving to Austin. I think I'm coming out to Austin in September time,
Nice.
somewhere around the end of August, September. It's a bit too hot maybe, but I'm trying to figure it out because I'm planning to move there next year, so I'm going to come and do like 3 4 weeks out there for various reasons. Like I partly because I just want to go experience living in America. But my point is like how people can take things. I don't know why this has got me thinking that way or what you said, Nagesh, but how people can take things out of context. Because I've seen people that have wound people up on like LinkedIn or other social platforms. And I know they're friends, like they're very, very good friends. And someone else says you can't say that. And it's like if you knew them, like they're very good friends. Like they wind each other up all the time. And I think it's a very important thing, like you said, to have an opinion, but never to break core values of what that person
That is
is
correct.
or what they
That is
bring.
the main thing.
Like
Yeah,
if someone doesn't have an opinion, I almost don't trust them because I'm like, you're just telling me yes, 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 yes,
I
yes.
agree,
I don't want to hear yes, yes,
100%.
yes. Like I want to
If you're
hear
not
why
human,
you don't
then
like what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
all of us have opinions,
Yeah,
because hey, we are human. Let's say I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. Uh, you know, that is a way of life, right? Meaning that is my way of life. But your way of life may be very different. You might eat meat.
I
That's
do eat.
okay with me. You can sit right next to me and eat. I don't have a problem. But you cannot make me eat, you know, uh,
Yeah,
because I'm opinionated that way. Because I have a reason for that, whatever may be. Because I'm very strict vegetarian, no fish, no seafood, no meat, no eggs, nothing. I'm to an extent where I don't even eat onion garlic. So I don't like that. So it makes my life very difficult when I travel because everything has onion garlic.
yeah, very true.
Vegetarian food is not a problem because in the US and in Europe you get good vegetarian food.
Yeah,
It's not a problem. But it's getting something without onion garlic is a challenge.
I love onion and garlic, man. I get told off for eating onion because it's not very good for my diet I'm on with the gym at the moment. But it reminds me of something like what someone said about religion, and it was almost they were saying to me, I think it's Douglas Murray. Douglas Murray, brilliant. If you haven't checked him out, he's a brilliant communicator in my view. I don't agree with everything he says, but a lot of what he says I can see value in. I think it was him that was saying it, and it was basically saying, I've got no problem. This is personal as well. I will never have or challenge anyone for not doing something because of their religion. But the moment they start saying I can't do something because of their religion,
That is
that's
a
where I get a
problem.
problem. And I'm like,
Yeah,
don't
that
tell
is
me
a
what I
problem.
can and can't do. Like I'm a very strong person on that point because it's like I'm never going to tell someone what they can and can't do. If you want to be a vegan, I don't
Especially
think
if
it's
you're
a
an
good
older
thing to be a
person, right?
vegan.
Like,
Do your own
yeah,
thing.
I
Like who am
agree.
I to judge you?
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
So then it becomes you're crossing the line kind of thing, right? Yeah.
exactly. And to take
Yeah.
that to a professional scene is it's important to keep those values. It's important, especially with the world you're in as well. How did I think I asked you this before, but I can't remember exactly what you're explaining it. But how did things change, like with the medical sector, or like what are the trends you're seeing? Not trends, but like how are you seeing it change with AI coming into it, better technology, computer vision? What are the kind of things you've seen? Maybe I don't necessarily know if the pandemic's the right thing to lean on, but just the adoption of AI at the moment is crazy. Like, what's the biggest change?
My field is, like I said, pharmaceutical manufacturing.
Yeah,
So it is slow. So I am pushing hard, at least with the customer that I have, to let them see what AI can do, right? Some of the smaller ones are more open. They're
yeah,
willing to adopt, and try to understand the technology, and especially people who trust me, when I go back and say, hey, John, this is much better. Let's do it
yeah,
this way, and it'll save you not only time but also money, and you'll be more efficient, maybe more compliant. They're very open to it, but the bigger companies are the challenge. So because there are so many layers and so many departments, but even there we are making little bit inroads. We're working on a big project for a large customer now, where we're going to bring in predictive analytics, predictive maintenance, and this is looking at tons of data. You're talking about millions of records we have to look at, historical data, to predict the future. That
yeah,
that can happen. The idea is that we will go with start with descriptive. We'll define what the problem is, looking at the data. Then we will get into the predictive modeling. We'll use machine learning to predict something. Then eventually we'll get into descriptive, meaning we'll tell you what to do.
yeah,
So it's going to be a long journey. This project probably will take 18 months, 12 to
yeah.
18 months. So it's a manufacturing facility, where within the manufacturing facility, this is a utility plant, meaning it supplies all the utilities to a large manufacturing facility, like compressed air, HVAC, few other things. So it's extremely large and highly automated.
Yeah.
The data is being collected, but it's in 12 or 13 different islands. So it has to be brought into one data lake, right? And right now, they're not looking at data. Even though there is data, they they're not making efficient use of the data. There's
Right.
lots of data, and my job to for this customer is to make sure that there's a single pane of glass. We'll set up like a network operation center. We're going to call it the ROC, which is Reliability Operation Center, where we're going to bring in all the data with multiple screens, right? And a manager or a supervisor who stands there should be able to say, I have so many systems. Where is the main problem that I need to focus on? So the system will tell you what to do. So that is these are the projects that we're getting involved in now, where we'll bring in data scientists, we'll bring in machine learning engineers, ML engineers, and eventually AI to bring this all together. So for this, you need to understand the process a little bit, right? What the equipment does, and that way, that is your mechanical engineering, electrical engineering side. Then you have the data scientist who can look at the data, time series data, unstructured data, structured data, and say how we can bring all this together. Then we have the visualization, right? So this will make a big difference, I think. Projects like this, so I think we will get into more and more like this, because whatever we do also has a compliance angle, right? Because it's a regulated industry. So it's not just doing it and walking away from it. We should also make sure we validate it. It is reproducible, it's reliable, and meets all the regulations. That's the second piece of it. So for that, what we are doing is we have partnered with IBM. So IBM has a product called watsonx.gov, which is the responsible AI, basically. So whatever LLMs we are going to use, we're going to have it within the watsonx framework, and that gives us a lot of tools to make sure that it doesn't hallucinate, it's predictable. The LLMs are giving predicting, and in real time we can see LLM can be anywhere, doesn't matter. This can govern it. You can build that governance. So EU has certain regulations now, right, for AI. We can apply those regulations. If we are dealing with an EU customer, for example, then we can apply the actual regulations which we cannot violate. That IBM framework will let us do that. There are many other vendors also. We like the IBM product, and we are partnered with them to bring this to pharmaceutical manufacturing. And we're going to leverage that technology.
Yeah. It's fascinating. When I was first speaking to you, Nagesh, it really, I worked in an engineering company for a very short amount of time. I think I've told you, but like how much process went in to literally making a soap dispenser, like you just tap in your home, and it blew my mind. It makes me think,
Great. You don't realize it.
yeah. And I was like, whoa, like all these different things, and you had to create this thing, and just to make the bottle cap out of plastic to fit through so you can go up next to your tap. I'm talking about home ones, and you can just go and make it feel like without second thought. But like the process,
Tablet for that matter, Tom, like a simple tablet. You
yeah.
think it's a tablet,
Well, that's what I was getting
but
to, and I was thinking like,
it
what
takes
does
a
that look
lot to
like?
make a tablet.
Yeah, like mass producing it. I remember seeing
Yeah.
an Omron.
Omron PLCs.
I saw, yeah, it was for McVitie's biscuits, and was it Omron? It was one of those, and it was a contained machine unit, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
basically just going, just picking up biscuits, packing them, picking up biscuits, packing them,
Yep,
and it
yep,
was just
yep.
non-stop, and I was like, the accuracy, the things, like, and it was for McVitie's, and it was just packing all these biscuits.
Great.
I don't like
Similar
biscuits.
things you see in the tableting, or in the pharma also,
Yeah,
where you see these high-speed machines, very
yeah,
accurate, and mass production. They can take like for example your blister packs. You see, the tablets that come in a blister pack. So you
yeah. You
think
don't
it's
think about
easy
that because you
to
got to like
make that very
turn it on.
reproducible. Actually, it's a foil, and you blow hot air. You form the bubbles. Then you put the tablet in. The foil comes in. You seal it. Then you print on it, and then the inspections are done on it, because there could be missing tablet, there could be double tablets. Maybe the print is wrong. Like you said, it's amazing. That's why when I look at it, I look at things differently, because I've seen some manufacturing, right? I
Yeah,
know the challenges of even making a simple product, from design to commercial manufacturing. It's definitely a challenge. In the healthcare, you have other additional dimension, right? It's a drug, something that
yeah,
you're going to put into your body, and or something that you're going to inject. So you can imagine there's two, three layers, additional layers, to make sure that everything is perfect, right?
yeah.
So it's amazing. It makes it more challenging.
Yeah.
in life sciences.
Yeah, well, you look at those things, and it's like you just mentioned it with blister packs or like bandages or all those different things that you can buy at a Boots, which is
Yeah,
a chain over here, and you look at how many there are, and you don't think like the process was going in the back end to just go bam, 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 like push them out, and it's like something I can buy for £2, which is like $3 or
it
something.
is amazing. It is
Yeah,
really amazing, and even it's fun to watch the human ingenuity to put all these machines together and make them work.
yeah,
It is amazing. I
in
think it is
sync,
amazing.
just non-stop.
In sync, non-stop, very reliable, highly automated, which a human can't do. What the machines can't do, a human can't do, right? We can build it, but we cannot work like how the machine does. Tak, 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 tak. We cannot do that. And
Yeah,
some of us so high speed, your eye can't even see it. I mean, it goes like that. In some cases, the PLCs or the controllers cannot keep up. The electronics is not fast enough for the mechanical
really.
thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, for example, I'll give you an example. I worked
Yeah,
on
please.
this project long time ago. When the fluid goes right, there is a particular type of flow meter. Is what is the principle they use for that? It is certain principle they use because when the fluid goes through the tube, it bends a little bit depending on the velocity and the volume.
Right.
They use that to get your the volume of fluid going through it.
Okay.
So and that information has to come to the computer in terms of pulses, like so there's x number of pulses equals something. Okay, so in high speed, when the flow rate is very high volumes, right, the pulses are so fast the controller can't keep up. So we have specialized hardware called very high speed counters. It's called VHSC, very high speed special counter or something like that. Okay, so that is special electronics that can track it. Maybe in certain cases, maybe it cannot, and that will give that information to the controller. So you'll have specialized hardware for that. To certain mechanical systems are so fast, even the electronic systems can't keep up.
Yeah. Do you think that's something that's gonna change quite soon with like the technology, or do
The
you think that's
hardware is
already
getting
changed?
better and better, right? Hardware is getting better and better. The computer technology is getting better and better. So yeah, it is very different now compared to when I started in the 90s, right?
Yeah,
It is
I
so,
can
and
imagine.
like things like RFID was not there, right? Now we have RFID, the tags that we use, right?
Yeah,
It is amazing. Vision systems, like it can process. Imagine, the things are moving so fast. You're actually taking a photograph and telling the system whether something is good or bad, and you're
yeah,
looking at many attributes in that
yeah,
one thing. So that was not as good in the early 90s. Now those camera systems are so good, and they can do amazing work, in terms of inspections and things like that. So all those things have changed tremendously, and the software that controls, that provides the human machine interface, and the data collection that happens, all that has tremendously changed. Only thing I want to see more and more is the AI piece of it, where it can, let's say I'm at a line which is highly sophisticated. It has so many screens that I need to navigate to do simple things. Imagine if I do voice control, just say, hey, Alexa, you know, change this for me. Tak, 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 things happen, right? That is not coming. And
yeah.
I would like to incorporate that. Next is glasses, right? So when I wear smart glasses, we use it nowadays. Meta has come up with it. There's many other
Of
products
course,
also.
yeah, they're great.
Yeah, on the market.
Yeah,
So let's say I'm working on the line, and I'm somewhere under the machine, right? So imagine if I have a smart glasses, I have a camera there, and the camera can see what I am seeing, and the technician can be somewhere else, meaning the expert can be somewhere else, but expert sees what this guy is seeing crawling under the machine. Then they can communicate and they can direct each other. That's a simple thing. Or if it has that virtual screen, hey, I can voice, with using my voice, hey, show me that user manual, and I'm interested in this part of the user manual, bring it in front of me. So it can just bring it in front of you, then you can work more efficiently, correct? So simple use cases like that, I can think of many use cases like that where the smart glasses can become really a good tool. And let's say the computer is somewhere else, that gives me the ability to control the machine. I'm under the machine, right, doing something, or somewhere far away from that, then I can talk to it, right? I bring up this information for me. So I have the glasses and boom, it comes up there. So I think what Mark Zuckerberg is doing with smart glasses, he's right.
Yeah.
The phone is going to be outdated.
Yeah. I
It's
100%
going
agree.
to
I
be,
think
yeah,
it's a really good point because I never think that hardware ever gets enough recognition for how fucking hard it is. Like how hard it is to build like hardware that can stick and like please so many people. Like it's you get annoyed at laptops after 4 years and you're like, where's the new one? Like the iPhone. Like
I
and you
agree.
just think like it's software can change overnight. Like how fast the models and but the hardware. It's so much slower, and to get people to change to things like the
Very
glasses,
difficult.
I think they're the
Very difficult.
future. I really do. And I think like I'm about to get a Whoop band. So I used to have an Apple Watch, and I had a Garmin very briefly. But I'm probably going to get a Whoop. I was looking at getting a Ring, but like to have that information, like not bugging me, but just sent to my phone, so I can understand like my sleep quality to my thing to this,
Yeah,
and to pair that with vision. Like I think vision is the most important thing. Like
agree.
yeah, it's crazy. Like the
And
stuff
the
I'm.
ability to talk to it, right? Ability to
Yeah,
talk to it in natural language. Hey,
yeah,
Meta, get me this. Oh, can you book a reservation here? That's very easy. I am driving, then I'm talking to it. It's giving me responses in real time.
Have you tried?
That is
Have you
beautiful.
have you tried some of those classes like that kind of
I
vision stuff?
tried. I didn't want to buy it, but I bought Meta smart glasses only because I like to use technology. Other thing is, I want to see if I can bring that to manufacturing.
Yeah, yeah,
Or build some apps on it. Right now, they have not opened up. Meta has not opened up their APIs.
yeah.
So I would like to put my own LLM, and that way, I can build apps on it. So for a customer, I can build
Yeah,
that. So they don't have the screen, right? Right now they don't have it. I think they're going to release it maybe sometime this year,
yeah,
where
yeah,
you have
yeah,
the screen also. So
yeah,
that will be nice. I think if you can see that like a virtual screen in front of you,
yeah,
that way, I don't have to have my phone now at all. It's
yeah.
voice,
It's all
it's
augmented.
camera, it's a
Yeah,
thing. It is something very spectacular, Tom. They have what's called a spatial sound.
yeah.
So if
Dude, I've
I'm
got that.
blind,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, if
yeah,
I'm blind, for example, I walk into a store and where are the apples?
yeah,
It will create a sound so I can walk towards it.
yeah.
That is amazing. Meta has the technology.
That's crazy. I didn't know they had that technology in them, but
They
I
have the
really,
technology, and it's amazing, especially if I'm physically challenged.
yeah,
Now I can see, right? Meaning, in a way, I can see because it's guiding me,
mm,
through wherever, and I'm more independent now, right? And this is amazing what these LLMs are going to do to all the different aspects of our the way of life, right? It's very
yeah.
important, right? Glasses, phone, everything,
It's crazy.
wearing a ring, it can even know what I'm thinking. I mean, can you
Yeah,
imagine?
yeah.
And
Can
if I
trace your
cannot
thoughts.
type, I can just think, and it'll type for me. I can communicate now. That is fantastic.
There's some crazy things coming out. Well, I remember
Yeah,
using them and I got them for Christmas, and I was playing around with my brother and my nieces, and like just recording situations, and then was playing songs for it, and they couldn't hear it, and I was like, and they were like, oh, it's kind of gimmicky. I was like, you don't get the applications that are going to be possible. I was like, in less than a year or two, the way they're developing their LLM Llama, I was like, once that's integrated, I was like, I'm going to be able to look at a menu in a foreign country and just translate it in real time. I was like,
absolutely.
I'm going to be able to look at an ornament or look at a
Even now,
like
I think, Tom, that's in the smart glasses now. You can
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
it's in the you can't get it in the UK because we've got regulation, but I think it's available in
Yeah,
America.
my smart glasses can do that.
Yeah, yeah, I thought they could do
Yeah,
that because
yeah.
we can't do about 50%, I think, or 40% or 60%. There's a number because we've just got so much red tape and regulation on capturing information, so they're banned in my country. But that's why I want to come to America because as soon as I come to America, they'll work. Like I'll be able to use everything. So I'm gonna take them to Austin and test all the things. But I saw an example similar to your point, Nagesh, where someone was having needed CPR, and the glasses emergency rang the
Yeah.
emergency call number, and then also directed them in like the shopping mall, shopping center, where
Imagine.
the CPR unit is, and then you can start, doing it. And I was like, wow, like you don't even have to take a phone
That's
out;
amazing.
it can just
Saved a
ring.
life, right?
Yeah,
Probably
it's
saved
great.
a
It
life.
saved your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like that is the
Yeah.
most powerful sort of technology. Um,
I agree because they're packing more and more computing power and also the sensors. Many different types of sensors they're packing in that form factor. That's a
yeah,
challenge.
yeah,
That's not easy.
yeah. Have you seen any like?
Imagine my smart glasses has so many devices, right? It knows when I'm wearing it. I take it off, it knows. It has a camera, right? It I can talk to it, I can listen to it,
Yeah,
and it has the battery, it has the processing power. and it's got the Wi-Fi, a Bluetooth. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
crazy.
phenomenal.
It's just crazy. I
And
saw.
there's no latency. There's absolutely no latency.
That's a good
The
point.
answers come out like that. Like that it comes.
Yeah. Well, I've got Judy Dench on mine, and she's telling me, right, I can hear in Judy Dench's voice. I was like, yeah. I like to have some more voice options, but it's quite cool to see. It's just crazy what it's going to be able to do, and I don't think people kind of grasp. I think the Vision Pro is an example of how to get it wrong because people don't want those big, heavy helmets on your head. Like I can't picture myself walking
They will
around.
come back. Meaning
Yeah, they
that
will.
is the failure is good for them because
Yeah.
they will take it to the next level now.
Well,
Because they
they're
have some
looking
good
at glasses.
technology. They
Yeah,
have
they're
good
bringing out
technology.
glasses.
But
I think.
overall, Apple is lagging. Apple is
Yeah,
screwed up big
massively.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
Apple is screwed up big time. They're nowhere in the AI scene right now.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
their series been pushed back to 2027,
Yeah, I agree.
or end of 2026, and people have already upgraded. People have already bought the Apple Intelligence, and it's just getting very big. Like I think you can still use parts of it, like news summaries and things like that, and like text and everything. But they had to pull one of the ads with Daisy May or whatever her name is because it was.
But they're getting sued also for that
Are they? Yeah.
because they showed something that was not capable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've heard a similar story. I didn't know they were getting
Yeah.
sued, but I saw like they pulled the adverts
No,
from the
there's a
YouTube
lawsuit now.
channel,
There's a
and
lawsuit
yeah,
now. Yeah.
and you think like the things that they're doing, like not to focus on them, but like yeah, they'll come out with something because they're obviously fell on the car, they're failing on the watches because people actually don't want to watch, they want a wearable, they want something that just transmits the data. All these different things of like the way technology is going is it's really fascinating.
I think so too. To me, this is really, really fascinating. But I think you need to keep, you're in the good field because you're in media and you are putting out this on a daily basis, right? That means you're really in touch with what's going on.
I like to think.
Otherwise, you cannot be informing people like me what's going on.
Yeah,
So, and that itself is a challenge to keep track of uh, not just the main stories, but also some of the things that other newsletters are not picking up. Right,
yeah,
that's also important. Something that may not be in the mainstream, but also it's important to maybe some of your readers.
yeah,
Some newsletters are very good at picking up, but yours I read every day,
yeah. Thank you.
and so that's only way I keep myself informed. I don't do Google searches. I depend on newsletters.
Yeah, they are very good.
Yeah,
A very
very
good
good.
platform. Yeah,
Very good. I like it. And not. I mean, obviously there's too many of them, but I need to pick. And
yeah,
over time it'll also you experiment, right? Sometimes you're reading something, it'll take you somewhere else. Then oh, maybe
yeah,
I should try that. You have to be inquisitive.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's impossible. And you should do speed reading, right? Meaning,
Speed reading, I
if you
love
want
it.
to pick up, it's impossible otherwise.
Yeah, you need to be able to learn the things quite quickly and to be able to adapt. That makes me
Ah,
think. Yeah, when what got you in? I didn't ask you this. What got you into like the medical field? I know within pharmaceutical manufacturing, and you did a back end, and you helped with all the solutions that make it possible. But like when you were 28 and you came to America, was it something that you knew you wanted, or maybe when you were younger? Did you know that like when I spoke to someone else, like I told you about in Clive and Ollie, they just got like a real passion to be in medicine and in healthcare in one way or another. What was it that drew? Was it always the idea to go into this, or was there several things that have impacted?
pharmaceutical, but I always wanted to become an engineer. I was determined. Even as a little kid, I knew I'll become an engineer. So I came to America much before I was started my company. So I came to do my masters, and I went to UMass, University
Okay,
of Massachusetts. I was probably 22 at the time when I came.
got you.
Then I got my masters in 2 years. I graduated. Then it was a little difficult when I graduated. It was 1992, and it was Desert Storm. The war was happening, and George Bush, his approval rating was not very high. Unemployment was high. Just before Bill Clinton. That was kind of the transition area. So getting jobs being a foreign student was not very easy for me that time. So eventually I got into consulting, and it was engineering, and to some extent I did not have a choice, like I only will do this or do this. I did not have that kind of a choice, but I just wanted to be an engineer, a good engineer. But I got a little lucky because I got into consulting, and this company for whom I worked, put me into these big projects for bigger pharmaceutical companies, and it was on the software side. So I learned about testing automated systems, validating them. So I worked on some big projects. Then I started managing projects for them. I opened a new office within 4 years of joining them. I opened a new office for them in Pennsylvania. Then I wanted to do something different. So that's when I decided to start my own company. I took off a couple of months, thought through this. My wife really encouraged me to be an entrepreneur. Then it was just, to be honest with you, I did not have a plan. I
Just
just
went with it.
took time off. Then those 2 months I sat. Then created my brochures, my websites, incorporated the company. I didn't know how to sell, nothing I knew. So somehow things worked out for me, and I got some projects, started hiring some employees, but I never went out of this field. Always was in manufacturing automation since I graduated. Even today, I'm in manufacturing automation. It's just that, I've done many things in this domain. I
Yeah.
didn't stick to one particular thing, but I know the many aspects of manufacturing. I know, and within manufacturing also, it's pharmaceuticals are very different than biotech. Biotech is very different than medtech.
Yeah.
So I worked on all the three areas as well.
Yeah. Wow. What did you think of America when you first went to America? Like when you came in from India and
Initially, when I was young, it was fascinating, right? Because always wanted to come to America because it is the thing, right? It's India was not doing that well when I graduated. I graduated in 1989. Opportunities were very minimal. Economy had not opened up, right? Because India was always closed. So there were not many job opportunities, things like that. It did change in the 90s after I left.
yeah,
It changed quite a bit. Then towards Y2K, it became much better. They started opening up. Then tech companies started coming
it's
up, and
booming at the
started
moment in
investing,
India.
like
Crazy.
Infosys. All those guys came in the 90s. Only they became bigger and bigger and bigger. So when I was there, there were not that many opportunities. Nothing to sing about. Write home about. So for me, America was good because a new country means new learning, right? How much ever you read about it, when you go to a country, it's a lot of it is education, the language, the culture, the people, and learning. I went to UMass. UMass was a very liberal school, extremely liberal school. 30,000 students were there when I went to UMass. So it was a big campus. For me, that itself was a change, right? Back home, I also went to university, but we didn't have 30,000 students in that university. So this was a much larger campus, and you know, uh, so I did a lot of odd jobs that I wouldn't have done if I were in India because I'm from a very reasonably well-to-do family in India. So here, there's no dignity of labor in America. Like I was a poor student,
Yeah.
so I wanted to make it on my own, right? I wanted to
Yeah.
start from
Good man.
scratch, make it on my own. So I drove buses, bussed tables, did research, taught classes,
Love it.
did networking. I didn't know anything about networking. I learned about PC networking. I had a job there. In one of the residence halls, I would do that. So I did many things. So that way I become a better person because I was more outgoing, became more of an extrovert because I had to communicate, I had to take on things what I never did, but
Yeah.
I knew I
See
could
things
learn.
in a different way.
So
Yeah.
be a little bit more adventurous. And some of them were very small jobs, like I said, driving buses. That's how I got my driver's license.
Really? Driving
Yeah,
buses?
yeah, it was very interesting because they put up a big sign saying that we will train you how to drive the on-campus buses.
Right.
At the same time, we'll pay for the license, driver's license. Then you can work for us. I said, that's fascinating. They're going to pay for my license. So I said, okay, we'll go.
Exactly. Let's
So,
go.
the big yellow buses, that's how I got my license. I did not drive them, but I got my license on driving the big bus. And then I used to drive these nice air conditioned buses on campus. It was not that hard to drive, but it was just driving a bus. Who cares, right? But for me, that was few months I drove because I got a license, then I quit. Um, but I would have never done such a thing in India. Never, never would have done. Because I was spoiled. My parents gave me everything that I wanted. Here, I was like started from scratch.
Yeah, you have to
It
really
made
go.
me a stronger person. Now I have confidence that I can survive anywhere. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you put me, I can survive. So
Yeah.
that America gave me that confidence.
Yeah. That ability to just go into a situation and be like,
Yeah,
I can own
yeah,
this
yeah,
situation.
yeah,
I can
yeah.
make it.
And I started as an entrepreneur, I learned that also, right? How to incorporate a company,
Yeah.
how to run a company, how to pay taxes, be tax efficient, so many things, to do. And I traveled extensively. I've been to at least 30 plus states in the United States, right? So not all 50, but about 30 plus states I've traveled.
Yeah.
Then all over the world also. I've been to every continent except Africa.
Ah. So there's you've been to the UK? And you coming back over anytime soon? You coming here anytime soon? Yeah, man.
Traveled within, I've done projects in London, in Manchester.
Mm.
I've traveled a few places, not just London, but also north of London and everywhere else I've traveled.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like the UK. The food is good, right? I get good Indian food. I get good, international food. London is a nice place. I like London.
It's it's a good place. It's hitting a few challenges at the moment. I think the whole of the country is, but it's we're in a bit of a tricky spot with various different things from just the business ecosystem, cost of living, all these different
It's
things.
challenging for the UK.
Yeah,
Definitely
it's a
challenging for
challenging
the
time.
UK.
I think we're all a little bit. I don't know. I don't know enough about the topic to be honest. I'm a bit selfish that way. I only focus on things I like. I need to obviously be very well acquainted with technology and the world that it's going. But there's definitely a lot of unhappy people. I don't know the exact reason why or what. I've got ideas of what it might be, but yeah, it's different. But London's a very
But
fun place.
Tom, I think, we are all global citizens.
Mm,
What happens to the UK, obviously it will impact your business,
yeah,
but you need to be much bigger than that.
exactly. That's
You
what I tell
cannot
myself.
limit yourself to UK, EU. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
you
Well, I'm
cannot
coming
work
to
on.
America. I'm coming to Texas. I'm gonna have my cowboy boots on and my cowboy hat on, I guess.
Yeah, no, you're coming to Florida too to visit me.
Yeah, I'm gonna come and see a big garden patch, and you can
Absolutely.
show me how
And you
to
can
cook
stay
some
at my
vegan
beach
carrot cake.
house. That's on me.
Yeah,
And I'll give you good food. You can see my place. And St. Augustine, that is where I live.
yeah.
It's the first incorporated city in America. It's an old city. It's
Wow,
the
so it's like
first city.
yeah,
Officially incorporated city in America is St. Augustine. And it is like Europe. If you come to this narrow streets, cobblestone, well,
yeah,
it's like that. Yes, it's
yeah,
very nice.
very
It's very unique.
yeah. Just the fact that you have alligators as well. Is it alligators you said
That
or
is there.
snakes?
Alligators in my farm, you'll see snakes and all that, but that's okay.
I wouldn't be able to sit outside and meditate knowing I've got snakes like maybe 50 yards from me. I'd be like, I think I'll do it indoors. Well, like you said, you
Yeah.
don't see it.
So, so are we good?
Yeah, yeah. No, I really appreciate it. It's Nagesh, I appreciate you coming on and spending this time. I mean, there's I want to do it again at some point. There's loads more questions I can ask you, but yeah, I really appreciate you spending the time today. It's been really interesting to see what's been going on and from spiritual to what you're doing with the manufacturing world. So yeah, thank you.
Tom, I don't know how time flew. I think we spoke for quite some time.
Nearly 2 hours.
I really enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, nearly 2 hours. It's a lot of fun. It's we'll do it again sometime, maybe in person. Let's see. I'm planning to get a
Yeah, Florida. You're
in
coming to
person.
Florida.
That'd be fun. Awesome. Thank you, Nagesh.
Thank
See
you.
you later,
Take care.
everybody.
Bye.